Hello, welcome back to Bars and Bells. My name is Ian.
I'm Lauren.
And this is Semester 4, Session 1 of Barre Class, where we'll be specializing in push-ups and plies. So with your body weight and just a little bit of space and that balance aid nearby, pump it up as Lauren is doing with those presses and bend those knees. Check out those feet. Let's start right now.
Welcome. Let's get started warming up those feet and ankles, and then we'll take it down to the floor and warm up those other feet and ankles, also known as the hands and wrists. With our toes underneath us or our feet, let's spread out those toes nice and wide, trying to find space between them. Then grip the floor, thinking about that ball of foot nice and spread out, the heel connected. And as you do that, you might in turn squeeze your butt cheeks, slightly pushing your hips forward, pulling your kneecaps up, bringing your rib cage down on top of his hips. And then next, let's just lightly find our first balance. So slowly pull your heels up off the floor by pushing down to go up and lightly find a nice rise. Now we're going to keep one foot up there, that knee will bend and the other heel will land. Let's march through these toes a couple times, gently bending on toes here, pressing up, always coming down on a lightly straightened leg. This time we'll land, keeping our butt cheeks squeezed forward. We'll take our toes that are bent, we'll point them, we'll gently flex around over. We'll go back to the pointed toes, ball of foot, double up, switch sides, toes bend, toes point, lightly flex around over. Roll back, one more time each side here, little rolling through, finding a little different direction for those toes than they normally go. Last one, slowly bending over, and then we'll add one more little thing to our march here. We'll come down on a straight leg, then we'll lightly bend the knee, hips sit back a little bit as we bend knee towards over toe. We'll extend the hips through to tall, press up and switch legs. Knee bends as I sit back here, and then press through, double up and switch. One more time on each leg, keeping that heel peeled high away from the floor the whole time. Light bend, extend. Now let's go up, up and hold. And then this time to get to the floor, we're going to gently start bending the knees. Take your time, slow-mo squat. Woo. Then with or without your hands, knees will land, hips will extend, and we'll scooch back and it's not very comfortable on the wood floor, and we'll warm up those hands. So with our hands extended out, we'll place them down, fingertips, callus, and then full palms. Just like your feet, spread out those hands gripping the floors. Rotate your elbow pits forward, pulling your shoulders down out of your ears, and lightly engaging those lats, which will come into play in our push-ups. Let's gently pull ourselves forward, getting a little bit of wrist extension. When you do that, keep your fingertips heavy, keep your elbows nice and straight, and your shoulders out of your ears. Now use your fingers and push yourself back. As you push yourself back, let's try to keep that anterior tip of the hips or tailbone towards the ceiling. Now let's pull ourselves forward again, shoulders towards over fingertips, press yourself back. And one more time, we'll pull ourselves forward, this time ending up stacked. Now for 3 in a row, let's keep the fingers connected but push the palms away from the floor and then control the palms back down. Repeat. Fingers stay down, but knuckles bend, and control the down. One last time, nice straight elbows, and then lightly flick the floor away, giving that a little shake out. Let's do one rotation so that our palms face forward, our fingertips come down facing our legs, fingertips, calluses, palms. One more time, we'll shrug those shoulders up into our ears, but then we'll say, no, 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 pull them down.
Pull them down.
We'll sit back, drifting our weight into those fingertips, but still keeping our palms connected to the floor. From here, we might have to rock forward, but could you add a little elbow bend to that, still keeping your palms flat? Then we'll continue bending the elbows and peeling the hands away from the floor, lightly shaking that out. Check in with those wrists as we do some push-ups throughout today's class. You can always modify by using a set of dumbbells or something
neutral wrist
to have a neutral grip. Otherwise, we'll be working on that flat hand on the floor.
From this position, we'll toe squat right back up. We'll be using those glutes, cramp the hips, extending through, and as Lauren cued earlier, keep that rib cage over the hips. Then let's tuck the toes in the back, and with the hands would look like me, and without might look like Lauren. Find those demi-point rises or those balls of feet, And stay on those tippy-ish toes as you find your balance, and with straight legs and squeezed butt cheeks, return back down to the floor. We'll do more work from the floor just in a second, but right now, let's go to that bar and continue to warm up those hips. Loose like a goose first. With a hand on the bar. If you're using the bar, avoid pulling yourself to it and maybe even push yourself away from it just that little bit. Let's take a single leg up in the front and then open it to the side. Then we'll incorporate the turn-in action. We'll talk about that later. And we'll pull the knee across the body and then open to the side. And loosen that hip, but stable in the standing hip. Slow it first. We'll go out and then back in. And then out and back in. And as allowed, maintain that quiet but active core. Perhaps pick up pace on this nice in and out action in the hip. And then finish by pulling to that midline. Hold a quick balance. This time the balance will be at the ankle, that coup de pied position. So hold for a second, find the midline, return the toes to the ground, and then cramp the glutes, pushing through. Add a little shake. We'll be switching sides here and invite you to do the same. It's a balance on the one leg for stability and mobilizing the other one. We'll pull up towards that knee, then open to the side, then turn in on the hip. Pull it across the midline, but never twist. Stay forward as the leg goes to the side, it turns in on the hip. Use your balance aid at the side, perhaps test yourself without, and pick up the speed as allowed, but maintain that quiet but active core, the stable straight leg, and that nice loose hip joint on the other. Return the knee to the front, then just lower back to the ankle position and hold a balance. We'll progress some balances, starting down low and working our way right back up. Until then, toes touch, glutes squeeze, and we're back to the floor for some stuff, some push-up stuff.
Right. We are going to be preparing our push-up because push-ups can be challenging. So let's get down there and let's activate those lats and warm up the core. Let's go back to that sissy E squat, or that squat again. We don't need to call it that, but knees towards over toes because it's definitely anything but sissy. Heels peel up as we do our soft landing. Knees come down. We'll extend our hips and place our hands down on the floor. We'll start with our bear hover. In bear hover number 1, let's think about our lats. Toes tucked, shoulders packed. Knees will hover off the floor. Now let's even more try to pull those shoulders down or engage those lats that are run down all the sides of our rib cage here and breathe. And to do that, you might think about pulling the floor towards your knees but not moving. Try to feel those muscles for 3, 2, soft landing on knees, flick the floor away. Now, even though you were thinking about your lats, you probably felt your core. This time, we're going to think and talk about both. Let's come down again, soft landing. Knees are going to hover off the floor. Ready? Lats engaged, shoulder pulls down, kind of like you're juicing an orange in your armpit. Now brace your abs. So if I came through the screen and tried to push you over, I couldn't move you. Pulling your hands towards your knees without moving. Keep that core tension. Breathing underneath for 4, 3, 2, soft landing. Keep your toes tucked. Flick the floor away. With or without those hands, let's rock back to that low tiptoe squat. This time, let's stay as low as we can, but try to find our heels. Ooh. And then gently press the hips through to tall. Shake that out.
Shake that out. And let's get back to the right sides here. Come on. This is my side, your side. Do both sides, but do what's also very comfortable, and hopefully that includes using a little bit of a bar. We did a little bent leg loosey-goose. Let's get more specific on the ins and outs of the hip. So standing nice and tall, take that outside leg and point flex on the foot to the front. But then do the other shape, that foot to ankle shape out front.
Cool.
In the hip, we'll do our turnout action where the kneecap faces away from the body or midline. And then on the hip, do that turn in. Again, avoid the twist turn. Stay tall and cramped on the standing leg. Repeat a turn out, in place, repeat a turn in. And finish with that nice turned out shape, a point of the foot, and with the hip staying forward, take the leg to the side. Using the balance aid, we'll pull the foot to shin, change that ankle shape, and then turn in on the hip. That might be a pleasant cramp, and then turn out. As you do a couple more of these, we're going in and out. And to repeat, we have that very straight knee, and to keep the hip forward. Again, avoid the twist. Finish with a turned in hip, point through the toe, and pull the leg straight underneath. One more thing with this leg before we switch sides. Take that same straight leg and reach it to the back, emphasizing a safe straight knee. Then turn out of that hip, an external rotation, and bring it from the back to the side, from the side to the front, and push the hip forward, getting taller all the time to make room for the leg to come back. And add a little shake. No, out of balance. Let's pull up to that ankle position, and with or without the bar, could we find our single leg releve or balance? Holding, breathing, returning to the floor with control, and then the toes touch and cramp those glutes through. Thank you. Making sure we have time for those balances as well. So we're switching sides, turning in place front and side, and a general circle from the back to the front. Point to the front, pull the foot to the shin. Keep the knee straight as we do our turned out action on the hip, and then our turned in. Are you squeezing that standing leg glute with a light grip on the bar? We'll turn out of that hip again, and then turn in, and repeat one more repetition of our turn out. Finish with our toe point. Then the hips stay forward, those headlights of the hips continue to face forward, and then karate ankle or dorsiflex, and then turn in on the hip, and then turn out. And repeat a couple more there as we turn in and out with that straight knee, and finish one more time on turn in, point through that foot, and get so tall through the hips as you bring the leg in. Then that same leg with a straight knee, of course, we reach to the back, and then like a key in a lock, turn open from the back to the side to the front, taller yet again as you bring that leg underneath, and then pull up to that ankle balance position. With the hands on the bar or ballet inspired with those arms in first, find a nice balance on those demi points or the knuckles of the feet. Don't be afraid to use that balance aid, and then come down with control. Toes touch, push through, shake, wiggle, push up skill number 2.
All right, so we found those lats and we found those abs. Now we're going to find both of those while holding our plank position. What does that mean for you? It means I get to hold this, and Ian gets to show us our plank.
Was making
so whether you want to watch this first one or join along with Ian and listen for verbal cues, you choose, but we'll do the plank again. Right now, let's come down to the floor. Let's go via your hinge, chip chop on hips, walk yourself out into your plank position. If you don't have a partner, think about it a lot. If you do have a partner, let's get a broomstick out and place that on their back. What you're going for here when you hold your plank, which is the top of your push-up, is your head is, toenails. Your head is in line with your rib cage, in line with your cheeks. Your butt cheeks are squeezed, your abs are braced, you're pulling down, engaging those lats, and you're breathing. Let's hold that for 4, 3, 2, then easy off. Maybe you come down and all switch places. I will say one little thing about the plank. Your hands might be a little narrower on your plank than they are in your push-up. You could practice the push-up position if you would prefer, but with the plank tension.
So continuing to work in that I go, you go, we'll take that dowel and place it on Lauren's spine. The 3 points of contact include the back of the head, or maybe that little low bun, and the rib cage through the T-spine, and then the buttocks out the back. You might have the smallest of shapes here in the lumbar, the low back. That's okay, but aim to hollow out. Avoid excessive lumbar curve here, and instead, Lauren Hugh, squeeze butt, brace core, and then rest. In our planks here, we're aiming to hold for about 10 to 15 seconds of a building towards that high effort. Take your time, find your position first, and add tension next.
Let's do this one both together. So extend ourselves out, hands either underneath shoulders or in what you believe is your push-up position, which will be slightly wider than those shoulders. We'll tuck our toes back. We'll go through the checklist. Hands gripping the floor, shoulders pulled down into lats, butt cheeks squeezed, abs braced, chin is lightly tucked. Breathe. Feel that tension pulling below you. Hold this top position for 5, 3, 2, starting at the hips, lift them. Knees will start to bend. Walk yourself back via your hinge, extending with long spine, pushing down and away to stand up nice and tall.
We have done some squats or pliés from that parallel position, so let's open up those hips into a first or a slightly turned out, and then a larger position after that. With the feet in parallel though, pull a leg forward, do a turnout action in the hip, and then return the leg underneath. Same thing other side to the front, a turnout and return. If we look down, we're probably turned out on a V. It might not be as big as you want in that turnout realm, but be careful, be safe, work from here. With a hand on the hip or that hand out in the side, let's pull ourselves down, creating a nice diamond shape between the knees, and then push those hips all the way through to tall. Repeating again, feel that pull effort down, then that push effort to get tall. For the final one, we'll find that balls of feet as we maximize how low we can go on the flat feet, and then we can peel those heels up to get low. Now connect the heels first, and then further on to extend through the hips. A tendu is taking a leg out to the side and landing toes, balls, heels. Find the pinky side of the feet here. Pull ourselves down to find that nice second squat or plie, and then push those hips through to get tall. It's that pull effort down to control, and then that press effort away to power up. For the final one, we'll keep the feet flat here as we pull ourselves down. Extend those hips through. We'll find a point towards away from the bar, and then pull that leg up to the ankle. Continue on to the knee, that passe position. If your knee is going high, consider the hip going low. Cramp that standing leg, return the rib cage over the hips, and then return the leg to the ground, finishing in that original V. We're going to switch sides. Let's just try that balance exercise one time on this side, and then we're back to the push-up. So we found that organic style turnout. Then let's just pull up towards that passe position at the knee with the toes pointing down, the knee pointing side, the sit bones pointing to the floor, and aiming to get the knee higher and higher, but the hips remain level. Then return back down, find that turned out position, and then shake it out and back to some push-ups.
All right, we're going to do our first push-up today.
Ooh.
And I have to be on this side because it's better over here. And in that push-up, we're going to go all the way to the floor and then all the way back up. We have two styles of push-ups, one from our toes and one from our knees. Both are great. Work from either and make both hard. Hip hinge. Walk yourself out. If you're on your toes, keep them tucked. If you want to go to your knees, place them down. Whichever one it is, let's start with the plank tension. Shoulders out of your ears, butt cheek squeeze, abs brace. We're going to start to bend our elbows. Try to keep engaging those lats. Elbows will come out to the sides a little bit. As we slowly descend, chest and hips land at the same time. Whew. Now, we're going to lightly scoop under to squeeze our butt cheeks and brace our abs. As we push off of our floor, I want our hips and our chest to leave at the same time. 3, 2, use a little hop. Press yourself back up. Let's do that one more time. Pull ourselves down for 5. Chin stays tucked. Don't lead with that chicken neck. 3, 2, soft landing. And then hips and chest. Hop, off the floor. Hips lift. Press yourself back. Take your time and push through to tall, tall. Hopefully you found some new tension in that push-up, including the lats, the abs, and the cheeks. And we want that tension throughout our push-up. Just like when we press, we use all of our muscles. So when we push the floor away, think about squeezing those cheeks too.
Use your muscles and practice those time under tension techniques. Until then, we're back at the bar, working on the squat or plie with some leg shapes out to the front, side, and back. So we found that nice turned out position, and we'll pull ourselves down into the squat. There will be a weight transfer here, so transfer weight to that inside leg, and then point the other leg out front. Let's stand tall on the leg out the back and return the leg back to the original position or first. Next, it's to the side. We'll do our plie, our sit, our weight transfer, and slide. Stand tall, return the heels to touch, and repeat our squat, and a single leg to the back with a straight knee, and then project energy forward through the hips and return the leg underneath. One more time as we go to the side in a knee bend, a reach, a stand tall action, and then pull in along the floor, then pull up towards the ankle or that knee position, and looking straight ahead and focusing on that balance, can we find a ball of foot or that releve hold. The hips are level, the ribs are over the hips as well, with the knee pointing to the side. Stay on your releve until you get to the 2 balls of feet, and then return the heels to the floor. That's a little extra challenge, but come down with control no matter which way you choose. Here we are on the other side. So we found that nice turned out position. We sit to create our diamond plie, and we stretch the leg out front. We stood tall and returned the leg back underneath the hips. Diamond shaped plie, reach out to the side, full stretch the leg, and return. Knees over toes, we're allowed to do that. Reach that leg back and full stretch. Return the leg under, and then to the side for the last time. Light tension on the bar, full stretch of the leg, pull along the floor, pull up, and maintain your balance here. And challenge yourself as you can by finding that turned out position, the releve or the balance hold. Stay on your balance until your toes touch, and then return, pushing those heels forward as we finish. And our shake, wiggle, and it's time.
As we progress these push-ups, our ranges of reps might vary depending person to person. Let's pick the number 3 today. And let's try to do 3 push-ups. What I mean by that is this time we will not go all the way to the floor, but we'll try to break that 90-degree position and press ourselves back up. If 3 feels like too many and you can do 1 good one, then let's stick to 1. Whether it's from your knees or your toes, let's hinge ourselves out. Find that top position of our push-up. What you might also find, sorry to interrupt here, what you might also find is you might go down with your knees up and press yourself up with your knees down. You can try a version of that too. Here we go. Tight butts. Pull the shoulders down. Slowly lower to get to 90-ish, and then use your muscles to push back up. Let's try it 2 more times. Think about pulling yourself down, and then push the floor down to send yourself back up. And 1 last time, pulling yourself down. Abs and butts, heads in line, press back up. Hips lift, walk yourself back up to tall. Whew. Tension on all those muscles. Shake it out.
The muscles. I like that shake. We'll return to the squat, and this time we'll keep the leg off the floor as we again reach it to the front, the side, and the back position, emulating that nice tendu shape from the ballet. Pull up the ankle as you sit or squat on the single leg, and then stretch both knees together, pointing out front. Return the knees bending together, and then straighten out to the side at the same time. Find that back ankle balance, and then a full stretch of the leg, and then 1 more time back ankle, and then out to the side to complete, until we go up on the balls of feet, and then come down into that plie, and then a full stretch of the leg out front. And then our knee bends, and then our rise. Knees bend together, hands stretch together, and for the last time we'll go down, and then out to the side. And find that passe, and then find a nice leg hold or that attitude balance out front. Stay on that ball of foot, return to the passe or knee position, and then out to the back, slight extension of the knee, aim for that toe out the back to be in line with your belly button, and then return to passe, return to the 2 balls of feet, and come down with control. Tendus on a flat foot.
Fondus.
Fondus on a flat foot. Fondus on a rise, and then balances out the front and back. Ankles bend, and then stretch together. Knees bend and stretch together. It's out the back, and we're reaching straight behind us, and then 1 more time to the side on that flat foot. Then find your rise, and bend the knees together, and then rise and lengthen together as well. Ankle coup de pied, out to the side with level hips. Out to the back, straight out the back with a bum cheek squeeze. And those knees are straight. Then find the knee, hold that, or challenge yourself in that attitude hold out front. Breathe, test your balance, return to the passe or knee position, and then out the back, slightly straight knee, nice and expressive there, and then knee to the side. Find the balls of feet and return, flat-footed and just in time for push-ups.
Let's do 1 more set of 3. I like that number. Well, happens to be my favorite, but it's, as you know, between 1 and 5. We'll progress our skills by the end of this 6-week semester and hopefully hitting, as we do with our presses, 5 times 5 push-ups. Maybe you add a little bit more or some variations to that to make it harder. Let's get down to the floor and do 3 push-ups. We always have to check in tomorrow and see how the push-ups felt on our body, wrists, abs, shoulders, sternums. So don't overdo it. There's lots of time for more push-ups. Here we go. Shoulders out of your ears, abs brace, butt cheek squeeze, pull yourself down and push the floor away. Pull down and similar breathing to your press. It's that inhale and tension up. Hips lift, walk yourself back, press through to tall. Remember, like anything we do at bars and bells, less is more. So less really good push-ups is better than more ugly chicken neck push-ups.
And that is exactly why I had that dialed out, because anytime I demonstrate a push-up in the studio here, Lauren calls out the old chicken neck. So keep it in tight. And again, it's a representation of how strong our core is. We're working on more leg balances here, but let's just work from that parallel or feet forward position. Pull up a single leg to the ankle, and then straighten it out and hold. Is the standing leg squeezed on the glutes and straight on the knee? And same thing with the straight knee on the leg out front. Return to the ankle position. Then pull it up to the knee, and making sure our hip didn't come with us so the hip stays low, is that leg then is turned out at the hip, pointed through the toes, holding for a nice balance, and then return to the knee. Could you do that one more time? Choose your height, either choose knee or ankle, and for one more time.
Are you turning out that top leg, sorry?
Yes, it is. Turned out.
I didn't know.
Straighten that leg on the bottom, maintain that nice turnout, and then return to the knee, the toes touch, and then glute squeeze all the way through. We'll do the same thing to the side in a second. Let's just switch sides and do the other leg out front. 3 quick repetitions, low, high, and your choice as you find the right place to work your strength today. Find the low position, maintain that turned out hip, squeeze your standing leg glute, straighten both knees. Then return to the ankle. Climb the leg, the hips stay low as if sitting down, but the leg comes up. And then with the turnout in mind, straighten the toes. Point those toes, straighten those knees, and hold. Return. Take a quick breath, reset, and for one more time, straighten the knee, maintain the breath, is the rib cage over those hips, and then return to the knee. The toes touch first, the glutes squeeze all the way through. And then there's the front side and the back, and the front, and then there's the side. So repeat the same thing, but this time let's work from that turned out position. So a modest turnout and pull up to that ankle or coup de pied. And then with the bars, balance aids, or test yourself without, straighten the leg to the side, turn out on the hip, and return with control to the ankle. Then pull up to the knee, the hip stays low, the leg is reaching high, and pointing energy out of those toes, and return to that knee position. Stay high, work yourself low as you do that one last time for the hold. Maintain the breath, and then back in, and then the toes will finish in that turned out position again. There's one last leg balance for me today, and it's on the other side. We're challenging the stability of one, the mobility of the other. So we found that turned out position. We pulled up to the ankle and maintaining nice balance and nice straight legs, holding, and then returning to the ankle. Pull up to the knee. Hips are squared, just in line with the chest, and then we point, shooting laser beams out of those toes. Then to the knee. Return low. Maintain the integrity of our lifts here as we do that one last time. Turned out. Toes point. Hold the balance. Return to the side. Toes touch and hips push through. Awesome.
Excellent. Well, I think that we should do one more plank just to finish up today's class. Get all that locked and loaded in here and ready for some more push-ups next time. I'm going to spice it up as well, and we're going to do a forward fold down. So blades are lightly together, chin is tucked. Let's try to keep our shoulder blades together as we slowly flex and round into our forward fold. As you make your way down, think about pulling your belly button in and getting up and over, and keeping the weight in the forefoot of your foot, trying to avoid pushing your hips back. Once we're down here, we can let the arms go and dangle, and we'll walk ourselves one last time into our plank position. This time you can assume that more traditional plank with his hands underneath the shoulders, feet about hip width apart. Now without moving, let's pull our right hand to our left hip, and then our left hand to our right hip, and then do both at the same time, creating that crossbody tension as well as squeezing your butt cheeks. Do that for 5 more seconds. Keep the tension high. 4, 3, 2, hips lift. Let's try to keep our hands stationary on the floor and walk our feet towards our hands. Ooh. And then when you can't get any closer, peel the palms away, tuck the chin, and slowly stack yourself all the way up to tally tall.
And the sweat taps have opened, and I hope we have time for one last move. So clear some room out, get away from those bars, or we can definitely use the bars or chairs for your balance aids as well. Let's test our strength in center. We're in that turned out position. Check. Then do a little step out to find your second position squat. Pull yourself to one side and finish with a toe point on the other. And then, just like earlier, could we lift the leg but keep the hip low? Land toe ball heel, feel this pull effort across and finish with a push. And then represent the same effort to lift the leg, but the hip stays low, the toes are pointed, and we'll land toe ball heel. Pull, and then push ourselves across, finishing with the toe point. Then we'll stretch that standing leg, holding a quick pose, and then bend the standing leg, grab the floor, feel the pull on those hamstring adductors, and finish with a push. The toe point, a lift, and then a stretch of that standing leg. One more knee bend on that side as we pull across, and then finish with a push and a point, and then give your partner some room. We'll stretch that standing leg, and with that leg out to the side, could we also find that releve or that balance hold? Come down on a flat foot, blend in the knee bend, pull ourselves across to the other side, also finish with our toe point, our full stretch, and as well, our little releve or balance hold with a straight leg on both. The heel lands, it bends, pull ourselves to the middle, try to get even lower in that squat, and then push those hips through. Full cramp of those glutes, push away, bring it together. And that is a complete Bars and Bells practice, episode 1 of our little push-up, plie, and core leg hold series.
Thanks for joining us tonight in Thursday night's class or anytime in the archive. Thanks to that fancy dancy YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Check out our Patreon page or join us on Saturday for our body weight class where we play with our strength, including crawls, single leg squats, a little bit of upside down time. So all you need is this and some space. Until next time, take care.
Stay strong.
And we'll train soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.